You are now listening to 15 Minutes of Fame Radio.
Let's go!
Uncle Rob.
And that light is on. All right, yo, man, 15 Minutes of Fame.
I was putting my phone on silent like a bat.
It's a force of habit anyway, right? I can't even put mine on silent, no matter.
Phone's on silent, please. Phone's on silent. Uncle Rob's in the building.
Shit, I walk around with my phone on silent. People say, yo, I try to call you. I was like, oh, shit, I forgot to turn my volume back up. I'm in a battle rap
That's how
event.
much you be outside advancing, supporting the culture.
Oh, my God.
My God. What's up, man?
You, man. Listen, there's a few things I want to ask you, right? But first, I got to talk about the shit that just happened.
Okay.
Right? You put out a two-part, was it two-part blog? Was it the same? Was separate? I said, did he have the same
Separate
thing?
motivations.
No. Right.
It wasn't no two-part thing.
Separate motivations.
Separate occurrences.
Okay. The first one you put out, well, let me say this too. You know, I've been knowing and talking to you for years.
Yes, sir.
And usually when you speak about something, you're never really always so blunt. You know what I mean? Like now you're blunt. I forget what event I was at, and I told you I was out here, and I was like, yo, I don't know, maybe, you know, you starting to talk more. I said, maybe we should do an interview. Because you know I've been avoiding the whole URL RBE thing since its birth. You know what I mean? I never
We
really
had
wanted
certain
to.
conversations about it.
Yeah.
Even like in Jersey, you know, when we sat down and all that. And I know Heavy Bags probably did some of those interviews too. So now I peep how you move. I peep how you move.
Yeah, and it's like only till now that I'm like, it's out. You know what I mean? Like you are being very vocal about how you feel about these situations that are occurring.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what? I gotta do an interview now.
Respect.
Because what I didn't want to do was pick at, you know, something that was just, you know, laying around, or you know, I wanted to make sure if I talk about anything, we need to know that it has to be talked about. And I think it has to be talked about now. Would you agree?
I think that's a good thing for RBE, that people feel like it's a conversation that needs to be had. And I think when you said I've been less blunt and more laid back, the same stuff was happening. Actually, it was worse back then. So I think at those times, me not speaking out perpetuated that. They perpetuated
The quiet. I think you mentioned something about the lunch money in your. Was it you or somebody mentioned something about?
I said that in one of the recent joints I just dropped. I said, you know, if you walk around on bully mode, you know, bullying all these leagues and leaning on them and doing the type of stuff that you've done over the years, you know, and then somebody finally says,
I need my lunch money today.
I want to keep my lunch milk today. Like, nah. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't say that I'm wrong now. I think that that's very weird. I think it's extremely weird to ever act like, oh, you speaking out, so that's wrong. Like, I'm wrong because you punched me in my mouth and then I bleed. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that don't make no sense. You know what I'm saying? And that's when people play the victim after being bullies all these years and all that type of stuff and continue to be. You know what I'm saying? And in real life, I don't believe in bullies. I'm just using the word to paint the picture.
No doubt.
To paint the picture. You know what I'm saying? But when you conduct yourself like that and somebody speaks out, the person that speaks out can't be wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, that's impossible. You know what I mean? It'd be one thing if these people that I have these facts and statements that I'm speaking about, or the people involved I speak about. It'd be one thing if they come out and they say, I don't know what y'all be talking about, he's fucking lying. You know what I'm saying? It'd be different. You know what I mean? But niggas know that the type of facts that I have just sitting in the archives and all that type of shit, and the people that could really vouch and compensate, everybody knows this type of shit, so.
We know that about you anyway. I kept the file.
And there's a million files. There's a million files because you got years and years and years of this shit. And I just want to make sure I clarify that. Like, I've always been a defensive person. You know, we're coming off of a decent event. The last thing I want to do.
It was a very, very, very great event. It wasn't decent. And again, I was supposed to show you a text message I got, like Hev had texted me. He was like, yo, this fucking event is incredible. I can't look at my phone right now to tell you exactly, but it was like, yo, this event is crazy right now. Because he was watching it from home, so it was a good event.
I appreciate that, and I hear that part of that conversation that I put in the blog today that was titled URL Stop the Cap. Part of that conversation was like, yo, the event is over. Like, why are you still
Hold
talking?
up. Go back to the first blog, right? So the first blog is...
I was just leading into that same point, but now I'm...
The first blog you mentioned, you were saying that, and again, like I said, there's some other stuff I want to talk to you about, but the blog was, you was mentioning that they were kind of like saying don't buy your pay-per-view, or swaying people away from buying the pay-per-view.
So I don't think that it takes a genius to interpret the subliminals or the sarcasm or the petty or the, you know what I'm saying? I don't think, especially when we all understand the man's personality, like I don't think any of us, you know, are that slow. You know what I'm saying? Right. And there's a reason why you would say that in the first place. If nobody was selling pay-per-views, any of your peers, you got Bullpen, you got Remy, you got RBE, you got King of the Dot, these people selling pay-per-views. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's no different. If you look at the history of the behavior, it's always like trying to snuff out finances or snuff out people's buzz or snuff out people's looks, whether you're calling bloggers and saying don't talk, whether you're saying don't buy the pay-per-view, whether there's a whole history, and everybody knows they used to laugh about it. RBE dropped about it, 3, 2, 1. We know they about to drop 2. Remember? I
remember those days.
Okay, like I don't forget none of this shit. So it's all in the history books of the type of behavior. So when I see those things and I hear those things, and some of us are in the middle of trying to sell a pay-per-view, I look at that like, I think that's kind of whack. Now I do understand from a competitive standpoint and a marketing standpoint, it's all free game, it's all freedom of speech.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I didn't necessarily walk around with that energy. I posed the what if. I said if other people start to market like that, like, nah, my shit is just gonna be like this, whatever. You don't need no app. Then I would be taking the same type of approach as you. Now some people believe in that guerrilla marketing type of shit. I never did. So if I feel like it could affect me, it's in my right to speak against it, no?
Yes.
That's all.
Yes.
That's all. If it's fair game as far as marketing and as far as talking, and if that's the way you choose to go about it, sooner or later somebody's gonna be like, well, the same fan bases that you're selling your app to, I might be selling a pay-per-view to, and if you're saying you don't need to spend this, then am I in the wrong for saying, well, I don't need to subscribe to that then? How am I in the wrong? I'm not. So I'm just saying, like, we don't show enough respect to our peers. These other leagues is out here selling pay-per-views. Why you can't respect it? That's all I'm saying.
It's a dog-eat-dog world. I just said that yesterday.
Yeah, I get it.
So let me go where I need to go there, right? Let's go back to the beginning, all right? Let's go back
all the way back there, huh?
Yeah, let's go back to, I remember being at your early events I was at your first event. And I actually remember I seen Beasley at your event. Then at some point that stopped. Do you know where and when there was any kind of, if I use the word friction between RBE and URL?
That question comes off as if something happened, as if the initial appearance was support. I don't believe that.
Okay.
I believe the way that happened was Star hit me up. And Star was like, Beasley wants to come to the event. And I said, no problem, I put him on the guest list. I seen Beasley when he walked through the door. I said, yo, Bees. He turned around, he heard his name. I said, ARP. Now, we had met before prior to that, but we don't have such a rapport where I expect everybody to just recognize each other like that. I recognize him because I was already a fan.
Right. He was Where's Waldo in most battle events.
All battle rap around me, all league owners around me. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you coming through. Thank you for your support. Shake hands. Enjoy your night. But a lot of us also know the history behind the scenes. Bloggers know this. When he makes those calls, how many people's there, who's there, whatever. He does the same thing with like High Stakes and UW. He does the same thing with bloggers in the building. The same thing about a fly. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's once again behavior that multiple people can attest to. Just because a man's there don't mean that he's supporting you. You know know what I'm saying? Like, and we developed no rapport, no relationship, despite us having business conversations prior to that.
So that's what you saw early on. So you think him coming to the venue was a scout?
I didn't take nothing, no shady, no type of way. I just take it neutral and live
Right.
like, okay, like cool. Like, doesn't mean that we're friends because you're here. Doesn't mean that you're supporting because you're here. Doesn't mean that you have ill intentions. To be fair, because you're here.
Right.
But your question, I just want to make it clear. Like, it doesn't. I don't want your question to come off with my answer as if you coming to my first event meant that we had a relationship and then something fell out.
Gotcha.
We never. I don't think that you ever supported anybody else in battle rap. Genuinely.
Okay.
So I just want to make that clear.
Okay, and you never had like a real conversation.
Yeah, we had a whole business conversation one time. I was on the phone with the man. We was negotiating how we work out Boss Chick Rain versus Nunu Nels.
Damn.
Yeah, like shit like that.
I didn't know nothing about that.
Yeah.
Nunu Nels was gonna battle?
Nunu Nels was trying to battle, and it was something. If I remember correctly, it was like the loser gotta jump off the roof type of situation, playing around in the luck shit or something.
Right.
Because remember, Nunu Nels and Boss Chick Rain had they personal whatever, right? And Nels wanted to battle, and at the time, me and Nels was cool. Nels was coming to all the RBE events. Me and her used to talk, you know what I'm saying, be cool on the phone or whatever. I'm not trying to say I got an issue with Nels now.
That was her Queen of the Ring days when she was, you know, C3, all of that for my ladies.
Me and Nels was cool.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Me and Nunu was cool. And I was cool with Rain as well. Nels definitely wanted to battle Rain. Rain declined. You know what I'm saying? But out of respect, I got on the phone with Beasley. And I said, yo, like, how do you want to work this out or whatever? And he was real. He said, well, you're paying for it, so it's your footage. And I was like, say no more. You know what I'm saying? But their affiliation, I was, out of respect, making sure we have the business call and coordination.
It's okay. I'll edit it out.
Okay.
Yeah, no, all right. Oh, then I don't have to edit it.
Appreciate it.
Where are you now? Or like, how many events are you in at this point?
I don't even know the name.
Okay. Just curious, like how far in were you? Wow.
I don't even know the name.
Okay, and then say that again because she threw me off when she came up. He was saying, oh, if you're paying for it.
Just regular type of conversation, being cordial. I was half offering, or not, I shouldn't say offering, trying to make sure that he didn't feel like he would be owed anything. You know what I'm saying? Because I was the one putting it together, but still out of respect, having a conversation to see if he felt the way that I was going.
Because she was affiliated with that.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
And he actually felt the way that I was assuming that it would feel, because I was putting it. Well, point being, I can pick up?
Yeah.
Well, point being, no, I don't think that none of that should be attributed to anything substantial or significant.
No.
That's just like...
To me it is, because I'm just curious as history-wise, like, because like I say, you've been around for so long, and then I've been around since you started the events. I'm just curious as to, you know, what type of relationships you were building or not building during your come up in the game.
We never had a close relationship or nothing like that. None of that old history, none of that backstory. I was just answering the question. I don't think...
Right.
When you have little shit like stories like Nunu and Rain about the battle, none of that shit matters or is significant at all. What it all boils down to is RBE getting to the point where we make noise.
Right.
That's
well, I'm gonna get there, right? So now you're doing your thing.
Yeah.
Now, when I said I'm just trying to find out where.
I'm telling you, there ain't
right.
one.
No, so that's why now I know I went too far back.
There ain't one.
Right. So there's no moment where, as though you said, there had to be the moment.
There's too much history, and even if you don't have the same conversation with RBE, you can have this conversation with Guerrilla Warfare, you can have it with UW, you can have it with King of the Dot, you can have it with Black Ice Cartel. You know what I'm saying? It's not about that history. There's not a specific moment where it's just like, yo, you stepped on my sneaker.
Got you. That's what I was looking at.
Nah, I know, and I get it. I understand you're trying to rationalize it, like, yo, how and why, and I respect that.
Well, you know that's how I am, and that's
I
who I am.
That's humble. That's humble. But if you read the history of battle rap and all these other leagues and all these situations and the consistent behavior, it all boils down to just, you are pulling on a fan base that I want to own. I just want to have everything. And you could remove RBE, and it's the same story for all those other platforms as well. That's all.
You feel as though they're
Let me ask you this real quick before you move on to the next shit. Do you or do you not remember a vibe or a time when it wasn't this energy between URL and RBE, it was between URL and King of the Dot?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
There goes my answer, my
Yeah.
whole answer, right? There goes my whole point.
And you just kind of like, I guess, helped me because I guess you were saying like, and you're in touch with guerrilla warfare and Black Ice Cartel. So these conversations are being had.
Very much so.
So, right. So it's not just you. It's not like you just have. That's why I now understand what you're saying.
That's why what I did, I said, you know, take RBE back a second.
Yeah.
Like, take us back and just swap it with King of the Dot, and people had the same story.
Now you were already given the. It's like the new guy that comes into school. You know, like, yeah, Jimmy's cool, but don't fuck with Mary and la da 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 da. This is what the other leagues were kind of doing together.
The only difference between the way that they felt towards King of the Dot and the way they feel towards RBE is I've been outspoken. Organic never really did that. I think Organic had his moments.
Right.
Where I think there's stories where Organic feels like his streams was attacked and all that type of stuff allegedly.
I remember that. I remember him.
Remember what I'm talking about?
I remember when they thought that the URL did. Yeah. Yes,
about?
I do.
I'm glad I'm not talking to a
Nope,
wall
I
right
remember
now.
that. I remember that. Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm trying to say
I'm
is,
trying to remember the event.
when you
Go
see
ahead.
how all of this is, all I'm doing is drawing the history and showing you like it has nothing to do with a particular occurrence. Like, yo, was it this or was it that? Or was
And
it
it's
the first
not.
one?
You're saying it's
Nah.
not just RBE.
Because even you, when I asked you to swap out RBE when it was that with King of the Dot, and you said, yeah, you're right. And I'll bring up it clicks in my mind. Like the stream shit, you said, I remember that. Right? So I'm not making none of this shit up. And that shit had nothing to do with me, right?
Right.
So that's all.
Do you look at it like as if, not to say they were here first because they weren't here first, but because the attraction and the attention and the stamp that they got, they wanted to protect that. So any leagues coming up, you know, around them was pretty much like
that. I couldn't really answer.
Okay. I have to ask them that. You know what I mean?
I don't know if they're gonna ever let a conversation like this get too far with them. They would rather just tuck and act instead of like just talk and be free flowing and real like this. So yeah, I don't think you're gonna get that. Like, what's niggas gonna do? Get on camera and be like, yo, it's true. Like, we did sabotage a lot of leagues. Like, what the fuck you think gonna say to you, right? Like, come on. You know what I'm saying? So don't expect that. But
So can you remember the moment where you said, fuck that, this enough's enough. Now I see what you guys are talking about because now it's happening to me.
I think I've obviously always felt the way about it. I got interviews from 15 Minutes of Fame sitting down with heavy bags.
And usually they were subliminal.
And I think even Hef sitting next to me. Rest in peace to Hef.
Ah, rest in pease, Hef, man.
Yeah,
That
I think
shocked the shit out of me, man.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
Shaka hit me with that text. I was just like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Rest in peace to Hef. But I got interviews on your channels, sitting at me, Hef, heavy bags.
Early.
And
Yeah.
I was being outspoken then. You know what I'm saying? I was being outspoken then. You know what I mean? And I feel like I still kept a good amount of reservation. I still kept a lot of the dirt and the details in the dark. And all these years, it just never benefited me.
Yeah, you were speaking out, but you weren't being specific. Like you're saying, you weren't really like you are now. You weren't doing that then.
I'll be honest again here. I think another motivation for me to speak out the way that I've been speaking out as well. No, you're good, my man. I appreciate it. Thank you. No, you're good. You're good.
Thank you.
Well, you might be working out. Well, it's when you work out. But I think another addition to me saying, okay, is the legal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go look up anything and then you find the law practice, I didn't cheat. I went and got some heavy, some strong. You know what I mean? And their advisory, their understanding, the evidence that I've given them, the advice. You think I would just get on camera and talk with me in the middle of litigation like this unless I had the proper advisory?
Of course.
Like, what am I, stupid? You think probably think I'm emotional. You know what I'm saying? You know, fuck my lawyer and say like, no, like, I'm cool. Like, let's be practical here.
15 minutes of fame.
You are now listening to 15 Minutes of Fame Radio.
Let's go.